What's the most degrading thing you've done? Not safe for work. I'm sure nobody will see this and I'm fine with that. I once held my ex's purse, while she blew some other dude in a changing room. Turns out she was clearly cheating on me, and I guess the dude worked at that store as a manager or something. They planned to meet up on a day we were going to the mall because she supposedly just needed new clothes, vest/worst part was she was only in there like 2 minutes. I didn't know it was happening, or that any of the other guys were happening either.
Damn son. There are no words.
How did you find out, if you don't mind recounting it?
Her sister told me not long after it happened. I guess she felt bad for me. I appreciated her pity.
I once begged my ex to stay with me, after she cheated multiple times.
This one time I had a bad stomach ache, ended up needing to shit, with no toilet to be found. I pulled off into a side alley off a main street and into what looked like a dead-end sort of parking lot. About to explode, I grabbed napkins that I had in my glove box. Then I squatted on the wall to help support myself, and I shit like a hippo, only to realize that off the side of one of the walls through a glass panel, there were a couple of ladies and a guy looking at me. One of the ladies was covering her mouth and the guy was laughing, and looked like he was calling out to someone else in the room. I was mid-shit, in pain. I panicked, just full-blown panic. I pulled up my pants. I didn't even wipe. I drove home with shit-covered pants and my car smelled like shit for a good week. Thank you for the gold and silver, you generous souls.
I've had a similar situation, stomach ache driving home, pulled over in a side street in Queens, and ended up shitting in the street right in front of an auto repair shop. Didn't have anything to wipe with, but had a plastic shopping bag in my car, ripped the holes a bit bigger, slid my legs in there and proceeding to start driving home wearing that like a diaper, albeit over my now shit-stained khakis. A few minutes later I had to throw up, so I pulled over to the side of the expressway and treated everyone to the image of a grown man in a shopping bag diaper throwing up on the side of the lie.
That's like paying for all your karma in less than an hour, with interest.
I was forced to beg for money in an airport to get $25 to pay for an exit visa. I was on a work trip with no cash on me and all of my cards had been blocked. Ended up sitting down beside the check-in desk for my flight asking everyone for money, and was ignored by pretty much everyone, as you would expect, apart from a French couple who helped me out. The most degrading 2 hours of my life, and I quit my job the following day.
Why were your cards blocked? Was your boss so afraid of firing you that he stranded you in a foreign country to die?
Now, that is some next-level dismissal methods.
Oh, don't worry, he won't be back.
I don't know if this made me feel degraded or thankful, or both, but one time I was drunk at a hookah bar, and had to blow chunks in the bathroom. One of the girls in our group followed me in with a glass of water to make sure I was okay, but I couldn't get anything out. I was just dry heaving horribly. She leaned down and asked if it hurt, to which I immediately began nodding. She turned on the sink and started washing her hands, and while she was doing so, she told me that she suffered from bulimia for a long time, but finally got better a few years back. She knew she could make me puke if I was okay with it. I was drunk and in pain, so I agreed, and she got into position behind me, told me she knew I'd get puke on her and that it was okay, asked if I was ready, then quickly stuck her fingers in the back of my throat. It was like she was pressing a button. She was very gentle. It was painless and I barely gagged. It all just came out like a waterfall. She washed her hands again and rubbed my back until I could drink the water she brought me. I never saw her again after that night.
Damn, that's a friend.
Forget friend, that was a literal angel sent by God, Yahweh, Krishna, and the rest of the Council of Omniscience in original posters' time of need.
Saint Bulimia. Years ago, I got drunk on a night out and lost my friends, started crying and telling a homeless man how hard my life is. Not my proudest moment.
Not me, but a friend was also very drunk and handed a homeless man a 20. Her husband then asked for it back. It took 5 solid minutes of begging for the homeless man to agree. They're not together anymore. Worked as a phone marketer for 2 days. It was horrid.
I did this too, for 3 days. I was 15 years old and selling magazine subscriptions. Walked off the job when my boss, who was some tweaked out 21-year-old, told me my attitude was causing me to not make sales, because nobody was answering the phone in North Dakota at 12:30 local time on a Tuesday. Apparently, he thought no one has a job in that state. Even worse was I never filled out a W-2 because the manager told me
You worry about making sales, I'll worry about the paperwork.
And it was never done, so I was never paid for those 3 days. Lesson learned.
I don't want to get too serious here, so this isn't the most degrading, but working at McDonald's after college degree can be pretty degrading if you live in a shitty town. So many trashy people acted like I was literally mentally challenged. My only saving grace was that I looked young, so a lot just assumed I was going to the local college, but for the workers that were clearly 30 years old or older it was rough. The nastiest, trashiest people would treat you like dog shit just because they could.
I don't know what it is, but food really brings the inner asshole out of people.
Look, McDonald's is nasty, but if it's bringing out your inner asshole, you should definitely talk to a doctor.
You're saying it's not normal for my anus to prolapse whenever I eat a McChicken?
I ate lunch in the toilet for a whole semester, because I was socially awkward.
Well, pretty much stopped eating so my wife and her kids could continue to eat and be healthy. We were very poor at the time. Degrading part? She was cheating on me with her boss. Yeah, that was degrading.
Hey man, for what it's worth, I don't think you were degraded. Degrading is betraying your morals and ideals in favor of your base instincts. What you did was in noble pursuit of a false pretense, but the fact that your wife didn't deserve your sacrifice doesn't make it any less admirable. You have my admiration.
When I was unemployed, I let someone I knew pay me for sex.
I let a sketchy dude my booty to pay my rent. He refused to pay afterwards. At least my roommate started bugging him for the money I owed for rent instead of me. I still had to move out and go back to living with my parents.
Lesson learned, always get the cash up front. I hope your situation has improved since then.
They're not into getting things up front.
Giggity.
Briefly accepted a job at a sales firm that turned out to be a scam. I didn't work there long and bailed the instant I realized what it was, but getting kicked out of a store for soliciting was the most degraded I've ever felt. I felt like a stray dog getting kicked into an alley. Took it as a sign, went back to school, finished my degree and got a well-paying job in a high-demand field.
Got back together with an ex, and it ended the same way as the first time, with her infidelity.
Ouch, same.
I learned not to bend over backwards to please people. I just am myself now, and if that is not good enough for someone, it's their loss.
Slept with a therapist because I couldn't afford therapy. Later on I slept with someone else to pay for a different therapist and rides to my appointment. I was going to therapy to deal with being assaulted, and held against my will by an ex. It was a long road for recovery, but I am pretty well adjusted now.
This is extremely sad, and disgusting that the therapist accepted sex for therapy.
Tongue punched a girl's fart box when that stuff was still taboo.
Wait a minute, who put that gold thing there?
Someone is throwing out gold, like Mardi Gras beads.
I mean, I don't have anything original to say, but whoever is giving away golds like Halloween candy, I won't say no. Please gimme that.
So many golds. I once sniffed cocaine off a girl's butthole.
I guess one man's degrading is another man's dream come true.
I have chronic depression, please give me gold.
Give up 40+ hours a week of my life to make somebody else rich.
And then, when you get home you just want to sleep and relax, and you never end up doing anything and the cycle just repeats every day.
I wanna die.
I got blackout drunk at a party, kissed a very thick Latina girl, got lost in the Waffle House parking lot, failed climbing a fence, gave my social security number to my driver instead of my address and threw up on his car door, all on a Wednesday.
I let bullies spit on me in high school. I'm starting to resent my parents for caring more about me getting in trouble at school than defending myself.
Cleaned up almost liquid diarrhea from the walls and floor of a Kroger family bathroom, especially since I was supposed to be bagging. The stench was indescribable, and I'm so glad I had my lunch long after I was done cleaning it.
I scrubbed the floors of Reddit for a gold reward.
Going to college right now at 23, in sophomore classes because some of my credits didn't transfer. 4 years older than these kids and you'd think I was 40, just moved here and haven't talked to anyone but my wife and my dog in 6 months. Tried sparking up a conversation before a lecture, they just kinda looked at me. Then continued talking to each other.
I'm back in community college at 23, with a fiance and a 2-year-old after managing employees. 18-year-olds are weird, man. It's great because I'm actually able to delay gratification now and have decent study habits. It's so fun to watch them all freak out over an assignment due tomorrow, that they haven't started, and I turned in a week ago.
I dug through the garbage to find a phone bill, to get my ex's phone number, because I blocked it, deleted it, and deleted the text thread.
Did your ex text back?
Oh, I got more than a text.
Giggity.
I had a really bad breakup that almost destroyed me. Basically, I thought she was the one and she cheated on me and left. I was so devastated that decided to get an escort. I went to her place, couldn't get hard, and then I started to cry. She was really kind and listened to my sad story and comforted me. She then worked really hard to make sure I finished. She was a really good person. Don't ever judge a hooker, sometimes they really do have a heart of gold. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and ring the notification bell.